Legendary head football coach Chuck Knox had a saying for when his assistant coaches would get too focused on the injuries and the negativity and how great the upcoming opponent is. He would say, guys, don't tell me how rough the waters are. Just bring the ship in. Meaning spend your time on the solutions, not the problem. So how rough were the waters for this Minnesota Vikings offensive line going into the game against the Cleveland Browns? About as rough as I had ever seen them. You come out of Ireland losing your starting right tackle, Brian O'Neill. You've given up 18 sacks, more than any other offensive line in the entire league. You have to fly a body out to London just to have enough people in the room. And then you have an undrafted rookie free agent, Joe Huber, at left guard. You take Blake Brendel, play him at center where he'd never been before. And then you got backup Justin School starting at right tackle. And oh, by the way, your left tackle, Christian Darrisaw, only makes it through 3/4 of the game. So how did this group do against perhaps the best defensive front in the NFL? Pretty good. And I think it should be recognized. We saw a combination of guys just going out there and getting it done, doing what they had to do, combined with schemes and certain run plays that I thought matched what they were trying to do. So whenever I see that, I think it should be acknowledged. And I want to spend some time on the film and let you, the viewers, just see for yourself the collective effort that this was and how well this group played. But if you doubt your courage, go no further, because we're getting deep in the weeds on this one. But come along for the ride and learn a little bit about the game, learn a little bit about the offensive line, and let's get to the film. Now, I want to start this with the trick play, and it worked obviously brilliantly with Cam Akers in the Wildcat at quarterback, something that we had never seen. Coach O'Connell knew about him being able to throw from his days with the Rams and from Cam Akers in college. Hadn't seen it yet, but these are the things that you store up, that you keep in your back pocket, and you pull them out when you need them. And the Vikings needed this right now. Before the ball snapped, however, one thing that's interesting to me is just how Cleveland has nobody back here. We watch film here all the time, and you always see a safety valve, somebody in the back end of the defense, just in case something goes wrong. And right here, you have 4 defensive linemen and 7 other defensive players, all within 5 yards of the line of scrimmage. They were just kind of asking for this thing to work. When you see the snap, Akers sells it real well. You get Josh Oliver up to the next level. And we'll take a look at this from the end zone, and we'll talk a little bit about the scheme that they're going to run here. But it's executed brilliantly. There's just nobody in the back end of this defense that has that responsibility. Whether that was a scouted look or the Vikings were aware of this, I don't know. But man, this thing worked. It's a very simple concept. You're pulling here, and then you're down blocking. This looks like a lot of different runs that the Vikings do. But it's this guy here, Josh Oliver, will work his way up and then get deep. And it's a great sell by him. This is why when tight ends block well, sometimes it opens doors in the receiving category. But for what the Browns see, they see a bounce outside, Wildcat, wide open. I mean, just a brilliant play call at exactly the right time in this game. So I'm taking these in chronological order. The first run here that I want to talk about is it's just a basic zone cutback, but it's the blocking of the tight ends, Hockenson in particular, that on this back side of this cutback that really matters. And look at that. Mason taking the football, cutting it back, keeping the shoulders square, getting north and south. Just very well done up front. And I think what this allows, when you get a 4-man front like this and you can pack in a couple extra tight ends over here on the side, it does a couple of things. Number one, it widens out the defense. I mean, look at how wide this defensive end is. He's all the way outside, so you've opened up really 2 gaps right here. And then it also brings out the support player who has contained from his alignment. You assume that. Now, once the ball snapped, I don't know what this guy's doing, because he'll end up running himself inside, but you're able to fire off and get double teams and then work up to the second level on this entire front. So once this football snapped, you have 3 steps, doing a great job double teaming here. Okay, Huber is double teaming, but looking up to the second level in case this guy were to run through. Same thing here. You got a double team working up to this guy. And then, like I talked about before, the outside linebacker here, he starts outside and then just all of a sudden wants to run himself in there. Now they have a problem because you have a defensive end inside here, inside of Hockenson, and someone flying up into the C gap, and you have no one there for the cutback. But Jordan Mason taking the handoff, little penetration here. Now you see the wave, right? You see this right here. And what a great job here also by Hockenson to just collapse this defensive end the best he can. There's the cutback, and now you got yourself an efficient run. So great job up front. All right, so this is really the next running play, and you're seeing the exact same formation, except a little bit different look out of Cleveland here. Now they have every gap full. There's not a gap along this front. Right here, you have contain. He's the C gap, the B gap player, A gap. I mean, look at this. They've got bodies in every single spot, but yet this play works. So when a defense has an offense pegged, meaning they got the right exact call for the right play, but they still can't stop it, that means somebody went above and beyond. In this case, it's Will Freeze. And you'll see after the football snap, you get couple double teams up front. Mason, with a little bit of patience, puts the foot in the dirt and gets to the second level. Now, this is a pretty impressive run, again, considering what Cleveland has going. Now, what works is this. It's Justin School, the double team here by Freeze, and then him getting to the second level on this linebacker. And he's able to do it downfield because these guys want to hit these gaps and then build a wall, right? If the linebackers step up and they make contact, you build a wall here, then the running back has nowhere to go. So ball snap, right? You got Fries bumping in. Now he's working up on the linebacker. Over here, the defensive tackle getting a little too far upfield. That provides a little bit of room. Okay, so when you have some guys jetting, it puts guys on different levels, and that opens up some creases. But Fry's getting up on that second level, ties up the linebacker, gives Mason just enough room to get through. And yet another efficient run against a very, very good front. So this is the next run, and unfortunately it ends up in a fumble, but I think it's important to know exactly what Cleveland did to cause this fumble or what they did to help. Here is a 21 personnel type of a look. The ISO downhill, it's the pursuit, the corner blitz from the backside that gets there. And that is what causes the fumble. So hat tip to Cleveland, right? They did the right thing at the right time, but this play is blocked up very, very well. We'll take a look and we'll see as the Vikings go to slot, that pulls Delpit out of the box. Okay. So that neatens things up for the offensive line, and you're doing your combos up front. Okay. It's these two on this defensive lineman up to this linebacker. You're leaving this guy free for CJ Ham to get up in there and block him off. And then on the backside, these two working up to that level, and you have Oliver out here on the outside. So what we don't see or don't know, or what they don't know, is that they've got a corner cat. Now, this is a little bit screwed up here. This end should either come underneath or get up more upfield and declare himself, but it's pursuit by the backside corner that chases Mason down from behind. And I think he just wasn't expecting this. He wasn't expecting to have a free runner, because you really don't ever account for the corner in any of these runs. But not bad. You have some room in here, right? You've got some softness. It would have been a good, efficient run, but unfortunately, Mason gets caught from behind, so ends up being a fumble and a drive killer. Again, when you're -2 in a game, you win 16.1% of the time, and the Vikings found a way to overcome it. So this is the next run of the next series, and I think this is just a brilliant call. It's a trap. It's something that I haven't seen the Minnesota Vikings offensive line do a ton of. And I know going into this game that the defensive front much like Atlanta, these defensive linemen get north and south. They don't try to two gap. They don't frog stand and try to read the offensive lineman. These guys are getting north and south. And, Malik Collins right here is one of the better pass rushing interior defensive linemen in the league right now. And this guy's all about getting north and south. So if you want to take advantage of that as an offensive line, you trap them, meaning you just let them go and you pull someone, kick him out, and then you work to the next level. I'm going to let this play run. You'll see how quickly this happens. There's a lot going on right here. But you'll see Fries will pull, kick out Collins, boom. Big crease up north and south. And, this could have been even a bigger run than what it was. So there's a lot going on. Let's explain everything that's going on here. So basically it's a trap. You want to turn the 3 technique loose. So you're going to let this guy go, let him get north and south, because that's going to end up hurting him. Okay. Across the front, these offensive linemen are all going to block down and work to the second level. So Darrisaw is going to turn him free. He's going to get up on the linebacker right here. We got a seal out block here. Center turns back. And then the big point is that this guard is going to pull and then kick out. And then the running back has to find that lane in between all of this. So once these blocks develop, you'll see Malik Collins, boom, he's free. You've got guard up on linebacker, tackle up on linebacker, and then you as the running back have to find out where this is going to be. Now, it'll probably be out here behind Darrisaw, depending on where this linebacker decides to go on him. But look at that. Look at that gap. And then look at this. I mean, there is just, if you can just bounce this thing out a little bit, you might hit your head on the goalpost. So close yet so far, but a very, very good quick hitting run. And that's what you do when you scheme these up. You got a defensive line that wants to go north and south. You take advantage of that. A trap is something I haven't seen a lot out of our offense. To dial one up now in a game like this, I think is brilliant because it worked. This is a thing of beauty. It's brilliant because it goes against every tendency that offense has had. In fact, I don't know if I've ever seen, maybe in college film, but to see a run that actually goes away from a puller is extremely rare. That means, and what I mean by that is this, is that Will Fries is going to step back. He's going to pull this way. And when a guard pulls, 99.99% of the time, the football is going to go somewhere on this side of the center. But in this case, it goes completely the opposite. So we'll just let this thing play out. A little flip, get him on the outside, and it's an easy 7-8 yards on that play. And what goes into this is a lot. And the tough block is this guy right here on Blake Brandel, because you're going to take Will Fries, pull him this way, make it look like it's a power or counter or something to the strong side. And Brandel has to not only cut back on this nose tackle, but he has to reach him and get to the outside. Normally, when this guard pulls, this nose tackle may play across the center. I don't know, but this is a tough play, and Brandel does an absolute brilliant job. You're going to just turn this guy loose because you know that on the nose tackle, when you get a down block by this tackle, because this tackle is going to go down, that he is going to collapse and chase. The end of the 3 technique side always plays the piano, so he might have a better chance. That's why you run it over here, okay? You run it away or to the bubble side or to the nose tackle side. This guy, is going to get right down the line of scrimmage and basically take himself out of the play. So all this going on at the same time, there it is. There's that block by Brandel. He gets this nose tackle looped back inside, and the defensive end who's collapsing and chasing, it's already too late. He can't plant and turn and redirect. And then you have School on the second level. It's just a beautiful job on a play that is as much of a trick play as the Wildcat was earlier with Cam Akers. Just a brilliant, brilliant play with, when you got problems up front, you got to dig deep. You got to make that playbook thicker. And this was a fantastic example. A little later in this drive, and this is a Will Fries play right here. It's a fantastic job. Vikings get everything set up. We're going to let this play run through, but watch Will Fries on the front side of this, being able to double team, get up to that second level, wall off that linebacker, and get just enough room to get Mason into the end zone. So depending on where everybody was set, where the nose tackle was going to be, move Mason over, and you can see, again, it's numbers. It's these two are going to work right here on this nose tackle and then work themselves up to the linebacker. Fries here has the toughest job because he needs to bang down on this 3 technique and give enough force that School can reach him and block him out and then be able to work up to the second level. So Fries has to get in here, hit this defensive tackle with enough force to get him out of his gap and then work up to the linebacker. And it works just brilliantly. Boom, there's the hit. You see how much the helmet of the defensive tackle moved right here. He's getting hit sideways. Fries is still square so he can see where that linebacker is. And that allows School to dig in there and get him out. And now he's going to work up to the second level of the linebacker. All this is just to create enough softness so when Jordan Mason can just surf right off the back hip right here of Will Fries. School holding on for the best he can. Just got to make sure that he's slowing him down enough. And boom, point of contact, Mason in there for the touchdown. So Will Fries doing a great job in this game on double teaming. Another example of some creative play design when you don't have the ponies and you got to get creative is this one right here. Brilliant screen. And you're taking advantage of, again, this Cleveland defensive front and how they like to get north and south. Okay. So motion over here, you got a slot formation. You can see the corner is set here. And what they're going to do is take Mason and run him this way. That's going to pull this corner out of the picture. Now, the next thing you're going to get is Hockenson on Myles Garrett. Now, Hockenson has been chipping. The tight ends have been chipping this guy all day. So to get blocked by a tight end, not unusual, doesn't smell a rat yet. But you know he's going to get upfield, okay? Double teams up front. We've seen a lot of that already. What they're going to do, the double team, and now you can kind of see it forming up here where Darisaw is working out. He's going to kick out the first thing he sees. Larandel is going to try to work his way up and get to the first linebacker. And all Hockenson's going to do is turn around. But now look at this. You've got Mason running the corner off, so you got plenty of space with him out wide. And then you've got the block here and the block here. I mean, this play, it's just designed beautifully and ends up getting the Vikings a first down. So, again, using the aggressive nature, the vertical nature of the defensive line of the Browns, using that against them. Finally, on the last run, I want to point out another guy, and that's this one, this guy right here, TJ Hockenson. He did a great job all throughout the day. He and Josh Oliver, when you run the ball effectively against one of the best fronts in football, it takes everybody. So we've seen linemen all day, tight ends, and then also wide receivers in this case, as we'll see here in a second. But this is a play that most of us have seen many, many times. It's Mason taking the handoff, bounces it outside to get a good down block, gets outside a Newsome right there, and almost gets in for the touchdown. But what goes on in the beginning is important, okay? Meaning this, you're getting what's happening here. You've got, this is the tough block on Myles Garrett. And Hockenson's smart. He lets him decide what he wants to do. If he wants to go underneath, he's just going to wash him down. He's going to just take his momentum with him. Oliver is going to try to stone him the best he can, work up to this next level. You're going to have a double team that starts here, get to this linebacker, same thing here. This is the number count, okay? So they've got everything taken care of except for the front side safety. And as you see right there when Mason is getting the handoff, great job here by Hockenson, Oliver getting outside, is you have a 6'3" Grant Delpit unblocked coming downhill for now. But watch what happens here. out of there, boom, right? You're getting a great block. I believe that's Jordan Addison taking on a really big safety, giving him a good bump, enough to get him out. And now you got the one-on-one with the corner, and that's what offensive coordinators want. You want your ball carriers to get to the guys that don't normally tackle. Greg Newsome does not get paid to tackle. He gets paid to cover. Now, this is a poor effort either way. I mean, this is a shoot-usser. I mean, that's I don't care. I know you cover people, but you wet pads on, you got a helmet, you got shoulder pads. At some point, you got to make a tackle. But Mason almost gets himself into the end zone. So again, going back to my main point is just all the rough waters, all the guys that were missing, moving guys, starting rookies, all those things are excuses against one of the better defensive lines in this league. They were able to run the ball efficiently, some through creative play style, drawing things up, other things like Will Fry's just executing a double team when it's called upon. And I don't want that to go unseen. I want to, again, bring this out because this group deserves some accolade for what they were able to accomplish. I want to bring it to you, the fans, understand a little bit more about the running game, how things work. We've all had a lot of question marks about this front, but this was a really surprising good game. And I think all the fans out there, everybody should be able to see it and enjoy it as much as I did when I threw the film on and was surprised at how well this front played all game.